Rams Nation, hold on to your seats because we might be witnessing the most legendary comeback in our team's entire existence. Could we actually see one of the greatest defensive players to ever step onto the field strap on those pads for the blue and gold one more time? The rumors are swirling, the excitement is at an all-time high, and I have all the latest information on this potential return that could change everything for our championship run. You do not want to miss this, so subscribe now to stay updated daily. Let's dive into the details right now. The conversation surrounding Aaron Donald and a potential return to the gridiron has officially reached a fever pitch in 2026. As the Los Angeles Rams aggressively assemble a championship-caliber roster, the possibility of the legendary defensive tackle stepping out of retirement to rejoin the team is dominating the narrative. With the front office securing Myles Garrett, the 2025 NFL Defensive Player of the Year, the team is already positioned as a top contender for the 2026 Super Bowl. The allure of competing for another ring at SoFi Stadium, right in the heart of Inglewood, serves as a massive catalyst for this situation. Aaron Donald himself recently shared with Pat McAfee that he is waiting to see if that internal fire can light back up. For a franchise already boasting immense firepower, the addition of a player of his caliber would be historic. Fans are echoing the sentiment, shouting "Ram it" across the city, hoping the star will reconsider his status. The reality is that the team is built to win right now, and the prospect of having one of the greatest defensive players in NFL history back in the mix is a variable that could redefine the entire season's outlook. While the Rams are currently elite, the internal debate remains centered on whether Aaron Donald will officially pull the trigger and return to action. This is not just speculation, as the player himself has acknowledged the thought process, leaving the organization and the fan base in a state of high anticipation. We are witnessing a unique moment where a legend could influence the outcome of the 2026 campaign by simply deciding to lace up his cleats once more, adding depth to an already terrifying defensive unit that is ready for a championship run. Why does this matter right now for the team? The answer lies in the sheer dominance that the Los Angeles Rams are aiming for in 2026. Adding Myles Garrett was a massive statement, but Aaron Donald brings an iconic presence that goes beyond simple roster statistics. Having him back would bolster a defensive line that is already set to terrorize opposing quarterbacks throughout the season. When you look at the landscape of the league, the ability to pressure the pocket with two legendary forces would make the defense nearly impenetrable. This matters because the Super Bowl is hosted in Inglewood, and the organization is clearly going all in on this objective. If Aaron Donald decides to return, he would integrate into a system he already knows intimately under Sean McVay. His familiarity with the scheme and his leadership would provide an immediate boost that cannot be replicated by any free agent signing or draft selection. The depth of the defensive roster becomes an overwhelming asset, turning the unit into the most feared front in the NFL. Furthermore, his return would solidify the team's status as the absolute favorites to lift the trophy at home. The current roster is strong, but Aaron Donald represents the missing piece of a puzzle that could cement this group as an all-time great defense. The impact would be felt on every snap, forcing opponents to dedicate extra protection to his side, which in turn frees up other playmakers. It is about maximizing this specific window of opportunity in 2026, where the alignment of the roster, the coaching staff, and the home field advantage creates a perfect storm for a championship, provided the defensive icon chooses to rejoin the ranks before the final deadline. History shows us that players returning from retirement can make a massive splash, and there are precedents that provide a glimmer of hope for the Los Angeles Rams faithful. Take Ricky Williams, for instance, who returned after sitting out the 2004 season to deliver solid production for the Miami Dolphins. Or look at the legendary Brett Favre, who came back in 2009 to lead the Minnesota Vikings to a stellar 12-4 season. These players proved that time away does not necessarily diminish the talent or the impact a star can have on a roster. Marshawn Lynch also famously returned to the game multiple times, bringing his unique intensity back to the Oakland Raiders after his initial stint with the Seattle Seahawks. Then there is Rob Gronkowski, who proved that even the best tight ends in history can step away and return to win another championship alongside Tom Brady in Tampa Bay. These examples highlight that high-level athletes often maintain their competitive edge even after hanging up their cleats. The most pertinent example for Los Angeles is Eric Weddle. Having played with Aaron Donald during the 2022 season, Weddle retired, only to be tempted back to help the team during the playoffs. He showed immense grit, playing through a hamstring injury and even a torn pectoral muscle during the Super Bowl victory. His return was a critical component of that championship success, and his story serves as a roadmap for what could happen if Aaron Donald chooses to follow in those footsteps. The fact that the organization has successfully integrated a returning veteran in the recent past provides a strong logical basis for why the front office and the coaching staff would welcome him back without hesitation. When analyzing the potential impact of an Aaron Donald return, we must focus on the specific dynamic of the 2026 defensive group. With Myles Garrett leading the charge, the unit is already designed to be explosive. Adding another elite disruptor would create a schematic nightmare for every offensive coordinator on the schedule. This is not just about nostalgia, it is about pure tactical advantage. Aaron Donald's ability to demand double teams is well documented, and the synergy between him and the current personnel would be immediate. The team does not need to reinvent the wheel to accommodate his return. The system remains largely consistent with what he thrived in for years. This makes the potential move significantly more realistic than a typical mid-season roster addition. The focus remains on whether his decision aligns with the team's push for the title in Inglewood. While fans continue to speculate, the facts are clear. He is the only person who can make this move happen. His legacy is already cemented, but the allure of one final glorious run in front of the home crowd is a powerful draw. The narrative of the 2026 season has been defined by aggressive moves and high-stakes roster building, and the return of the team's most iconic defender would be the final massive piece of that puzzle. As the weeks pass, every development, every quote, and every practice update will be viewed through the lens of this potential comeback. The organization is ready, the roster is capable, and the stage is set for a historic run if the legend determines that his time on the field is not yet over, cementing this as the central plot point of the current NFL year. The anticipation surrounding the situation is reaching a level that defines the 2026 season for everyone associated with the franchise. As we look at the potential for Aaron Donald to rejoin the lineup, we must acknowledge that his presence would change the mathematical probability of defensive success on every single down. The front office has done everything in its power to build a contender, and the fans are vocal in their desire to see the legend back in his iconic uniform. The story of his retirement has always been about the potential for a different chapter, and we are now at the point where that chapter could be written in real time. We have seen other greats return to play, succeed, and even win championships, which validates the logic behind the intense interest in his decision. Whether he chooses to return or stay in retirement, his influence on the team's narrative remains constant. The entire 2026 outlook is colored by the what-if factor associated with his name. Regardless of the outcome, the commitment to building a powerhouse is evident, and the inclusion of players like Myles Garrett proves that the organization is not satisfied with being good. They want to be legendary. Aaron Donald represents the pinnacle of that ambition. The consistency of his performance, his work ethic, and his intelligence on the field would be an invaluable asset in the locker room and on the grass. As we approach the middle of the season, all eyes will remain on the star, waiting for the word that he is back to chase one more ring. The path to the Super Bowl is never easy, but the possibility of having an all-time great anchor the defense makes the journey look much more promising for the team and its supporters.